please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is MULN, Mullen Automotive. This finishes at $2.35 today. That is down 21.67%.
And it's gone.
So we have been discussing MULN for almost a month now. This went on a crazy run, definitely short squeezed. And in the past week here, it's been cooling off, not too much price action. But today, finally starting to show a lot of weakness, major pullback today. So this did make StockTwits number 1 today. Had over 20,000 mentions, so we're going to analyze it. So no company-specific news to justify this price action today. It just seems like things are coming back down to earth, people finally starting to take profits, and shorts starting to come in here. And just in general, the overall growth market didn't do so well today. Alright, so let's go ahead and analyze here. We do have a double gap down. First gap down at 1190. So that's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 1190 to fill that gap. May take a while, but eventually it should. And then we have another gap down at 465. So that's another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 465 to fill that gap. And then we have a gap down today at around 294. So that's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 294 to fill that gap. This also looks like a possible bull flag in the making. You see here is a flag pull, and this is starting to pull back, so a flag is developing now. That's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock may want to break out to the upside. This looks like a huge cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being 52 cents, the low, and there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 425. And if it was 425, that would currently be a bearish indicator. This should start to pull back to form a handle, but it can also be a bullish indicator if it's above 425. So it can also be 585, 740, 815, $9, 980, 1050, 1165, or even the high of 1590. So it looks like in the short term, the cup and handle would be a bearish indicator, but in the longer term, it does look bullish. So the cup and handle could be bullish or bearish depending on where the top is. And then for the bearish indicators, we do have a triple gap up here. First gap up at 60 cents. So bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back down to 60 cents to fill this gap. Looks pretty unlikely at this point, but possible, so keep that in mind, guys. And then we have another gap up at 150. So bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back down to 150 to fill this gap. And then we have another gap up at 180. So another bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock may come back down to 180 to fill this gap. So 60 cents looks pretty unlikely, but I do think 180 and 150 are possible for those gaps to fill. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 257 and 223. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 257, 272, 291, 322, 341, 360, 379, 398, 409, 424, 439, 458, 496, and then 523. There is resistance above 523, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 223, 189, 170, 136, 113, 98 cents, 75 cents, 60 cents, and then 52 cents. 52 is the low, so no support below that. So right now at this current price, 235, the channels to the downside are pretty wide, so expect a significant increase in price action if this continues to run to the downside. So that's pretty scary. That can be very bearish. And to the upside, the channels are pretty decently sized, so expect a normal amount of price action if this runs to the upside. RSI is currently at 53, so that is pretty average, a little bit above average. So according to the RSI, this current price of 235 is around fair market value. Maybe it should be a little bit less. And this did 181.5 million in volume today, way above average. So this sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. And it does appear like the stock is losing a lot of momentum. Volume has been going down the past few trading sessions. So it definitely appears like the squeeze is over. So just my opinion, guys, not financial advice. So we've been reviewing this stock for the past month. I've been saying at some point, this is going to have to pull back, just a matter of when, not if. And surprisingly, this stock has held up pretty well. It has not showed that much weakness, but today we did have one of the bigger red days in a while here for this stock. So long term, this definitely seems like a good buy and hold. Good stock to diamond hands. A lot of strong bullish indicators here in the long term. Big cup and handle. Double gap down. A lot of upside potential in the long term. But in the short term, I do believe this will pull back. Like I said, it appears like the squeeze is over. Momentum is cooling off. And the price will probably come back down to earth pretty soon. It went on an absolute run. Went from like 80 cents to over $4. So over a 400% gain. So it is realistic that the stock does pull back. So we are getting some pretty mixed signals. There are more bullish indicators than bearish indicators. So in the long term, I do believe it is a good stock. It does look bullish, but in the short term, I think this is going to have to pull back. Not sure how low it's going to go, but we can make some pretty good educated guesses based on these gap ups. So if you want to go long, not financial advice. Honestly, I don't think 235 is really the greatest entry. It's not bad. It's pretty average. Again, RSI is at 53. 235 appears to be around fair market value. Although I do think if you're a little patient here, you should be able to get a much better price. Again, there's gap ups at 60 cents, 150, and 180. So I do think this will come back down to at least 180, possibly even 150. I don't think 60 cents is that realistic. So yeah, 235, not a bad entry, but you should be able to get a much better one if you're a little patient here. So I don't like the entry of 235. I would set your buy orders to 180, and it may pull back even lower than that. So I would support going long at 180 and lower. And if it pulls back below 180, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short now, financial advice, seems like a pretty decent play. So again, I do think this will pull back down to 180, possibly even 150. So from the current price of 235 down to 180, that's about a 25% downside. So pretty good money there. And if it pulls back down to 150, that's over a 35% downside. So pretty good money to be made here on the downside. That being said, it is still risky. Again, more bullish indicators than bearish indicators. And the apes still like this stock. You never know. This can go squeezing again. I don't think it's likely, but possible. So I would say going short here would be a medium risk, high reward play. Definitely worth a shot in my opinion. I think the reward outweighs the risk, but you still are exposing yourself to a good amount of upside risk here. So be careful, guys. If you want to short this, I would say do it for a quick scalp. Get in, get your money, get out. You don't really want to hold it for that long. So I can support going short at 235 and higher. And I would say please cover at 180 or 150. And that should be some pretty fat tendies. So yeah, pretty straightforward here, guys. Long term, looks bullish. But in the short term, this has been on an absolute run. Finally starting to show weakness. And I do think there is more downside to go here. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is MULN, Mullen Automotive. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know. Diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.